correct me if I'm wrong, 3 or 4 sessions that you have to attend,
Mm-hmm.
and then you
Modules.
kind of check the box to be a first-time home buyer. And that opens up the doors for certain first-time home buyer perks. That
And you
is
get
not
a
what this is.
certificate.
We've done them before
Yep,
together.
yep.
This is not what that is. This is more what really prompted me is I've had a lot of people lately who are right sizing, meaning they already own a home. They want to go on to the next one, but they're not the first time home buyer anymore. And some people have forgotten how to buy a house. And really the number one is they have money, but it's in the equity of their house. So they don't have $40,000 or 20% down of a $700,000 house liquid that they can put down in a first deposit, put down in a second deposit, which you kind of need to offer. So I think to re-educate people, not just first-time home buyers, hey, let's do a quickie. Let's refresh you on what it means. Can you sell your house and buy a house at the same time? Absolutely. It can get tricky, but if you trust in us, the professionals, we can help you do it. So it's not a first-time home buyer workshop. It's definitely a home buyer workshop. If you're planning, even if you want to put an offer in next week, or maybe you're going to wait 2 or 3 years and it's something that's on the horizon, but you're not quite sure yet, we can answer all your questions.
What I've been saying lately, and this is just something that I took from my own personal experience, but what I've been saying a lot lately on the show is you never know where you're at until you start the conversation. So even if you haven't talked to a loan officer, or you haven't talked to a realtor, this is a perfect and great opportunity for somebody who is interested in purchasing a home ever. Really, it doesn't have to be right now. It doesn't have to be within the year or so. Just educating yourself on the process, because for me, it was scary. I didn't grow up dreaming, oh, I'm going to own a home and do all this. But as an adult, I'm like, no, this is something that I want for myself. But I didn't know that I was sort of there at the finish line, ready to make the leap, until I had the conversation and had the confidence in myself. So
knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power.
Yep.
And that's exactly what you guys are going to be delivering to people on Sunday, right?
And I do think that even when I have my first time, home buyer presentations in the office, I go over everything, because knowledge is power. The more you know, the better you can feel about your writing an offer, making the purchase, doing, there's so much that goes into buying a home that you have to be confident in it.
And even the second, third time home buyer, if they haven't bought a house in 10 years and gone through the process, it's so different.
Things have changed, yeah.
Everything's so different. It's the same information we're teaching to first-time home buyers, except they're second or third-time home buyers. They may have gotten a mortgage when it was a handshake.
Yeah.
And now they're especially in our older clients.
100%.
They are like, why do you need all these statements? And and it's just re-educating them on the process and trying to get ahead of it so they're not frustrated during the process when I'm at them.
Yeah, and what to expect. Like we've had buyers who aren't familiar with e-signing. I mean, I have had clients who I've had to go and get signatures from them. You have to meet people where they're at. And it's funny, I always think of when Brian was coaching, my husband was coaching baseball, and I don't know if it was Jake or Owen, and I said, you have to assume, you can't go in there assuming that every kid knows how to play. Of course they do. I said, no, you have to go in.
This is a bat.
You have to
this
say
is a base. This is a line.
I'm going to throw the ball to you, and you're going to hit the ball. And then your goal is, and you know what? I loved it because he did have kids that had no idea what a baseball was, what a bat was.
Right.
They didn't have somebody who was throwing the ball in the backyard with them. So same idea with a home buyer or a home seller. You have to meet them where they're at. And the more information you give them, the better everything is going to be.
Even teaching them the technology of how to download a statement as a PDF.
Yeah.
How to electronically sign. I'll go over and sit with a client and teach them the first time on their iPad. Then they're good throughout the rest of the process.
Yeah.
But just technology, they haven't had to, if they're say they're retired and they haven't had to deal with it in their industry, it's all new to them and it's frustrating. And It's just helpful if everybody knows ahead of time what to expect.
100%.
And you guys are so right, where it might have been 10 years or maybe even 5 years ago you bought a house and now you're looking to buy another house, but it's ever changing. But the thing with being in the industry ourselves is we constantly have to keep up and we have to be in the know. So we're doing our continuing education, we're doing these workshops and keeping it fresh in our mind because we're in it every day, that it could be, sort of forgetful or things that are changing year after year for somebody who's purchasing a house. So
Exactly. I just thought of something, and then it lately it comes in and then it goes out as fast as it comes in my mind. I forget.
oh, okay. Does it have something to do with Sunday?
It has something to do with home buyers.
All right. Well,
And
maybe you can think
refresh me. What I'm hoping that people get from this workshop is to sit down, to ask questions that maybe they were afraid to ask, or they didn't know to ask. Really, we talked about it. What are you hearing? What is your uncle, Joe, telling you about the real estate market? What is this person?
Friends.
Exactly. And
Everyone's an
really,
expert. I believe I'm an expert in everything. So
you really are. You know a lot about a little and a little about a lot.
yeah, pretty much.
But truly, the other part of it too, we talked about it earlier. The past 2 years really 3 years in real estate has been such a whirlwind that we really are going back to basics. And we're able to sit down and we're able to have all these things. That was the other part of it. Everybody, you're going to see these popping up everywhere because especially, I can't speak of the mortgage world, but in real estate, we're all kind of taking a step back. We don't have to be at that fast pace, although we might be in a couple of weeks.
Hopefully.
We're not at that fast pace anymore, so we can take a breath and we can say, okay, wait a second. You want to buy a house? You're not ready next week? Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the plan. Talk about your credit. Talk about how you can put yourself in the best position possible to become a homeowner.
Yeah. And there's no obligation with these sort of things. So you're not obligated to, only specifically use you guys, although you are taking your time and putting this together. But it's
And I have a
educational.
statistic.
Educational purposes. Oh, okay, go ahead. Bring out your statistic. You said it earlier, and I
gotta
questioned
find my
you on it.
source.
You got to find
70% of buyers, of buyers, sellers in real estate work with the first agent that they meet. 70% people.
I see. I had to question it because, there are a lot of people out there that know multiple realtors or people in the business. So I'm just giving you a hard time.
I think meet is kind of a broad word.
Oh, okay.
You come in, you meet somebody, you got to click with them. You can talk to people.
Yeah. That's true. That's
Right?
true. And if you want to talk to us, you can call George at the studio, 781-837-4900, and you can join in the conversation. We are live on Facebook, so if you follow Boston Connect Real Estate or McNamara Broker Team, if you're part of any of the private Connect pages, you can say hi, wave to us. We're watching. We're watching.
So
you
back
too.
to what you said, there's no obligation.
Back to cutting you off.
Sorry. I have to
Go ahead.
work on that.
Do you?
I'm so
Did
bad.
you remember? Okay, go ahead.
There's no obligation, but we are giving away a Ring video doorbell
Oh,
for your new
as a
home.
consolation prize.
No, as a prize, as a gift.
Yeah.
You have
Not to everybody though.
You have to pre-register and you have to be present to win. But one lucky potential home buyer will walk away with a Ring doorbell.
So okay, so anybody who's listening interested in the workshop on Sunday, where can they find all the information of how to sign up and everything? Is it on social media? Is it on
Eventbrite.
Okay.
Christine showed me how to. Well, I kind of learned on my own, but she told me to use Eventbrite. I've never used Eventbrite before.
And I've
But-
never done a QR code before.
We have a QR
You guys are
code.
learning too.
We have an Eventbrite and their
I know
Facebook.
real estate, not technology.
Yeah. So I know that we had shared it on Facebook before. So what's your page? It's Kristen Howlett, Realtor. What?
Kristen Howlett, Realtor -- Boston Connect Real Estate.
Okay. And then do you have a professional page as well?
And I can't believe I don't know the title of it, but it's probably Christine Fiske, Harbor One Mortgage.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure if
so
somebody
there's a-
Googled you.
Oh, look,
They'd be
D,
able to-
D Denise. Hi,
There's
D.
a
Hi.
Hi, D.
Facebook event created. There's an Eventbrite link. There's a QR code. Anything else?
Yeah.
We can post it in the comments and this.
Yeah,
can't we? Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll do
Yeah.
it next time you
Thank you.
guys are doing your little thing. So it's this Sunday, February 26th from 11 to 1 here at our office, Boston Connect Real Estate, located at 19 Mattakesett Street in Pembroke. Again, no obligation, but it's education. It's free education. Who doesn't love a free education?
100%.
Right?
And we space is limited, so we are asking that you pre-register. I think we've only got like 4 or 5 slots left. Which, I mean, that's really, if you're coming with a significant other, it's really
Right. It's 2 couples, 3 couples.
yeah.
There'll be coffee, water, beverage,
refreshments.
food.
Yeah, fun.
So
Snacks.
what could somebody sort of think that they're going to take away from this? So it's something that you guys are like sort of excited about, that you're going to be giving this information. What is it that someone can expect to sort of walk away and be like, okay, I might be able to.
I love to meet everybody, so they get to meet me.
They get
We
to
can have
meet
fun.
you.
That's the one thing. I'm fun. If you don't want to have fun, don't come.
And
Yeah.
it'll be casual,
it's fun.
laid back. It's not
100%.
a sales pitch. It's just how can we help. I love to give the do's and don'ts. I love to go out and kind of discredit what you hear on mainstream media and what the news is putting out there as
And you're
what's
going to tell people.
happen and projections in the economy and this and that. So just to kind of tell it like it is. And
Yeah. And I think I overheard you guys talking about sort of how you're going to structure it, but maybe like the second hour is like more of a Q&A. So it's an open discussion. It's like, just come, ask your questions. We can answer them the best that we can. Sort of like trying to be comfortable around like real estate, because some people just aren't. They just don't know where they're at.
Yeah.
And we're in it every day.
Yeah.
So we know what's, again, going back to your Uncle Joe, he may know some things that he reads, but we're in the trenches every single day. We know that we are seeing an uptick in open house showings and multiple offers are back. And we may not like it, but it's the fact. And you need to know, we can give you some tips on how to be in a good position, why a lot of first-time home buyers are great buyers, because a lot of times they don't have something to sell. Well, obviously they don't, because they're first-time home buyers.
Yeah,
But,
like me.
smart.
yeah. But they're great buyers because they're flexible. We can help people. Yeah, you might be approved for 500, but let's go in at 425, 450. Gives you a little bit of an edge up, because maybe you can go a little bit higher. Think about what you want. You're going to tell people, what do you need to get pre-approved? We have
Yeah.
a credit.
Yeah.
We have a credit expert who's going to talk about
Yeah,
credit,
yeah.
little tips
Janice
on
will
how
be
to
there. Janice
how to
will be
boost
there.
your credit. And that's another thing too. I mean, somebody who may be looking now, tomorrow, maybe your credit's good, but guess what? 6 months to a year, your credit could be fantastic, and that's a big difference, right? In your
Right,
does it make a
right.
big difference in
And-
your monthly
and
payment?
It does, especially now with the interest rates, up and down, and they really drive a payment so much. The home,
So what
the
could-
home today versus the home last year is almost $400 more a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
a lot.
It's a lot. It's something that you have to consider. Something that I've been saying is, I'm okay with the down payment. It's what happens after closing. If I can't make the mortgage payment, I should not have bought that house. I should have been looking at something lower.
And you're so thoughtful with that, which
Yeah.
is how we wish
you know what?
everybody was.
As a buyer, it's just me. So I'm not going in on, to purchase a property with anybody else. I'm my sole provider. So if I can't make that mortgage payment is not being made.
And I love that you're like that, because I'm like, oh, you can do it.
Yeah. Listen, I believe in myself. Don't get me wrong,
You can
but
do
I'm
this.
at capacity right now.
But I love it. I'm always like, you could get someone to come and help you with the mortgage. You're like, nope, I'm doing it myself. I have to be able. And she is.
Yeah.
She's super smart.
Oh, thank you.
You are. You're very thoughtful.
Christine, so I'm curious about your process. So somebody I say I'm a buyer, I call you and I say, hey, I just want to know where I'm at. Like, do I have good credit? Do I have anything? What's the process like when somebody calls you and sort of wants to get that started?
I try to have an initial conversation with them first about what they want to do, what their history is for employment, what they think their credit might be, what Credit Karma is telling them is we can use it as a guide. Get a little background on them on what their savings is, what do they want to do before we actually just jump right into doing a pre-approval, because in a pre-approval process your credit gets pulled, and I don't pull credit lightly. So but I will tell them that once we have this conversation and figure out what direction, it is key to get the pre-approval first, because you don't know what you're looking for
Yeah.
until you're pre-approved.
And I would imagine it's information in, information out. I mean, you're only as good as what they're telling you.
Exactly. And that's why when we do our pre-approvals and you check bank statements,
Yeah.
and you check all these things, you see, oh, what's that deposit?
Yeah.
What's that
Yeah.
Venmo?
Yeah.
And kind of you get to see their behavior, especially now with cash apps. Those are causing like havoc in the mortgage world, because we
Yeah.
have to a lot of these home buyer programs are income limit driven. So when you see Venmo deposits in and out, you have to ask everyone,
Yeah.
what's it for, in case it's income. They're
Yeah.
going to ask.
Yeah.
So just educating in that way. But doing the pre-approval, and I tell them all the time, you're not submitting a pre-approval application and it's like yes or no. It's this is our playground. This is what we're going to be working on, so we can get a picture of advising you. Maybe it isn't going to
Yeah.
happen in 3 months for you, but
Yeah.
this is the only way you're going to know, where do I go?
Yeah, I think that's so important that what you just said. It's not a yes or no question or answer. It's okay, this is where I'm at. How can I get to another place? What's the journey that we're going to go down together? And you play a huge role in that too, Kristen, you know, and again, I'm speaking from personal experience. I didn't know where I was until I started having the conversation. So, you know, if somebody goes to you and says, "Hey, my goal is to buy a house, but I don't know where I'm at," it's so important to be like, you know, it might be a no today, but it could be a yes next week. It could be a yes next month.
Like we were just talking about, I never realized the importance of a work history. Like it has to be a consistent work history. Those are all little
Yeah.
nuggets that people, you know, again, we
Yeah.
don't want to dissuade anybody from, you know, sometimes dreams take years and we can do it. And you start, you ask the questions, we give you the answers, and then we keep in contact. And, you know, I have somebody who's coming on Sunday who she's one of my friend's daughters, and she's been doing everything she's supposed to do, and she checks in with me, and you know what? She's going to own a house soon.
Oh,
And one of the biggest things I find about the pre-approval process is that kids, I say kids because everyone's younger than me, but they get an idea of, oh, we want this house. And then I say, well, this is the mortgage payment that goes with that house. And they, what?
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and the first thing I always tell people, no matter what you're pre-approved for, what's your budget? But I think they don't perceive, oh, this home is going to cost me this much. Whether they're using like Zillow calculators that have tons of fine print about
Yeah.
what the actual down
Yeah.
payment was and all of that, but they don't really incorporate property taxes and homeowners insurance and
Yeah.
PMI, and they
And
I
then on
say,
the
yeah,
flip-
you can afford it, but do you at 25 do you want a $3,800 a month mortgage payment? You
But then on the flip side, you could have people who are paying, you know, $2,700 a month in rent,
Right.
who don't realize that they look at a $500,000 house and say, oh, I can never do that. But yeah, you could. I think it can also be eye-opening
It's
on the other
eye-opening,
way.
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
So then to see a payment.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
That, like I said, the payment is what matters to me. You know, we could figure it out beforehand, but after closing, you don't have anybody. Well, in my case, I'm not turned into somebody at the closing table being like, "Can you help me next month?" Like,
Yeah,
no.
and I'm a big. I lean on Christine a lot. I'm always like, oh, heck. I have my mortgage calculator, and once I have that big discussion with my buyers, I know exactly where they need to be. Sometimes I'm not quite sure, and I do lean. Can she do this? Can he do this? So
Yeah.
I'm a big. I do look at it from the other end. Let's talk about where you want to be monthly. All of your other, you know,
It's sort of like
expenses.
working backwards. It's like what would you ideally like your monthly payment to be, and then we'll work backwards.
And
Okay,
that's
so
been the
this is what the house.
conversation
Yeah.
mostly now is, well, what do you, because, you know, they might be having a mortgage payment now, it's $1,800 and they're upsizing. What do you want it to be? You know, because I had a couple this weekend who were looking at $900,000 homes, and I was running numbers, and they went, oh, our budget's $4,000 a month. I go, well, that's a $6,000 a month house.
Yeah.
So now they're toning it back. You know, they just need that concept.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to work with an agent that I know, you know, a little bit about what you do, and you know a little bit what I do, but we both need to know each other's job, because Kristen's standing with people in a home, and they're going to have financing questions. And yes, I'm a phone call away, but she has to stand there and spit it back out to them.
Yeah.
And we work together like, hey, Joe and Sandy here. I got those names wrong.
Joe is a
Joe
popular
and
guy
Sandy.
tonight on the
What was
show.
that?
You call you Uncle Joe, is what you were saying? now Joe
anyone-
and Sandy are buying a
Wait.
$900,000 house.
Has anyone watched Sharper on Apple TV?
No.
Let's stay
never even heard of
focused.
No, it was just her name was Sandy. She was a grifter.
Oh,
It's a good movie.
Anyway, squirrel.
I was thinking if that's where
of
you
all the Sandys in the world, we have a fish Sandy downstairs. Anyways.
Oh, that must be it. I channeled Sandy the fish. But to say, to be able to answer some basic financing questions at the open house or the showing. But I'll say to Kristen, when you go out, these are my assumptions for this pre-approval. But when you're actually going to go look at properties, shoot me the addresses so I'm ready. Let's make sure it still works.
Right.
Yeah.
And even especially with multifamilies, well, what's the expected rent going to be? Is it going to be vacant? Is it going to be occupied at closing? And just working together is key because ultimately we're trying to get them in a home.
And you know what? You just made me think of that. I love that all of these young, I have a 22-year-old. These young kids are coming in and they're so interested in these multifamilies. When we had the one in Taunton, I would say 50% were all these young kids that were so smart. It's gonna be owner occupied. I'm gonna live in the first floor. I'm gonna rent out the second floor. So smart.
And a lot of accessory dwelling units, like the one I saw in Rockland last weekend, everybody's multi-generational.
Yeah. Well, that's
Coming
a
in,
huge,
And everybody wants either the ADU, accessory dwelling unit, or they want the multifamily for their parents or in-laws. And just understanding how different a purchase for multifamily is than a single family. And the difference, my gosh, condo to single family.
Dee has some questions for us.
Yeah, I know. Well, one they're not on topic, but one of them is what's the best way to stage a house? I feel like you and I did we do a show on staging?
Dee, I'm all about the staging.
Yeah,
I'm gonna stage
Kristen and I
everything.
did a show a couple months ago. So if you go to talkrealestateroundtable.com or go to your podcast app and type in, and I think maybe you even know.
Emmy was here with us.
Yeah, Emmy. Was it Emmy?
Emmy, yeah, because Emmy's East Bridgewater listing, she ended up staging. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've done multiple shows on staging, but so that is a loaded question, actually. What's the best way to stage a house? Well, Dee, it depends. Are you looking for, your whole house, a living room, a kitchen? There's so many different things. And also we did a 5 senses show. I feel like that has a lot to do with staging as well. So
Wait, she also says, I have a real estate licensing question, probably not good for on the air. I have a situation that
read it
has been
anyways.
going on for almost 2 years and I need help or direction. Oh,
well, Dee,
We
we'll
can
get
hook
it.
up after the
Yeah,
show.
we'll hook up after the show, Dee. But yeah, what is the best way to stage a house? Loaded question. That's a whole show, Dee. And we'll
I
do
will
that
say
over
this,
again.
Dee, less is always more.
Yeah, less is more. Yeah. Okay, well that's
Start
your one
to declutter.
That's your. I don't know if we call it like declutter. Well,
do you
just
call
like
it?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a polite way to say it. Like just get your
Organize.
stuff out.
Get your stuff out.
Get your stuff out. that's the synopsis of the show. Okay, getting back to where were we on the thing?
Home
You're
buyer
looking at me like-
workshop.
yeah. Home buyer workshop. Okay, give the information about the home buyer workshop one more time. So when is it? How can people find that? Sign up
Our
for
home
it?
buyer workshop is Sunday, February 26th, 2023 at Boston Connect Real Estate. Wait until you see it. It's so cute here. This is actually the perfect setting for something like this.
Yeah.
Because it's not in a stuffy, no offense, bank. It's
She turns to her. I'm so sorry, Christine. You're being abused on our show.
I've done first time, and it's in a bank. It's a little
I've
bit
never
stuffy.
done one in a bank.
No, we did
But
it at
yeah.
Harbor One. Yeah, we did.
Oh,
that. Yeah.
upstairs
Yeah.
at the old,
Yeah, which is nice. We're at a
whatever,
conference.
corporate
But this
headquarters.
Which
like,
is nice,
you can
but
sit
it's not our
back.
office.
I can make you some tea, hot chocolate.
Yeah. No. This place is awesome. It's
Yeah,
so
so cute.
comfortable. I just was telling you in the kitchen, it feels like
Yeah,
you're home.
I
when
think
you're
the
here.
Amazon delivery guy was like, it smells so good in here. And I'm like,
Julia must have sprayed something.
yeah, she must have sprayed something.
And there's fish.
Like linen.
Yeah, we have a saltwater fish tank downstairs.
Yeah.
No, it's the cutest
Yeah.
by
Well,
far.
when we bought the building almost 4 years ago now, can you believe that?
No.
Almost 4 years ago. I came up with the tagline. I almost crashed my car thinking of it because I had to write it down because I would forget it. And our tagline now is a home to call our own, because we were renting somewhere and now we finally bought a home for
And
our
it's a home.
agents. And it is a home. It was a home at one point. I always say, oh, I'm going upstairs to my room, but that's my office. I'm upstairs. So
The
like,
bathroom upstairs is so cute because it's
Yeah.
quirky. Like it's
Yeah.
it's older. It's charming.
It's got a
super
shower
cute.
in there, so
Yeah.
you know,
It's a great
if we ever
house,
feel like taking a shower in the middle of the day here.
We should put some blow up mattresses here just in case we ever want to spend a night.
I think that's going a little too far.
Homebuyer info session sleepover.
Oh yeah. What are those things called when like a lock
A
like
retreat?
No, well I guess, but like you know
Oh,
when
we
you
could
would
do a
sleep in
homebuyer
the gym.
retreat.
Homebuyer retreat. Okay, let's start with the workshop first and see how that goes, and then we'll do an overnight retreat at Kristen's house.
I wonder if Dee knows anyone who's looking to buy or sell. If she
Maybe,
could
but you're gonna hook up with
spread
Dee
us-
after this, and
Spread
see
the
if you can
word for
answer.
us.
Yeah, see if you can answer her question. But yes, Dee, we have done some shows on staging. So again, go to talkrealestateroundtable.com or your podcast app, and you can find those. But maybe we'll do another one soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, because spring's coming.
And things change. Yeah.
Yeah, things change. Just like everything else in real estate, staging changes with time as well. Okay, did you give the information again to how people can sign up for your workshop
We're
here?
going to tag it on this link on this Facebook Live. Facebook event. Christine has created a Facebook event. We have an Eventbrite.
Yes.
We have a QR code. Oh, we can put the QR code
You're
up.
so
Yeah,
fancy.
Yeah.
wow.
So there's lots of ways, but it's like we said, it's free. Pre-register.
And you don't have to be a first-time home buyer. It's for any home buyer, and you don't even have to be buying a house right now.
No,
Win
you
a
can
ch-
just come
get
and
a
hang
chance
out.
to win a Ring doorbell.
Ring
Yeah.
doorbell.
Ring doorbell for your future home.
That's right.
Yeah, have some
We
coffee.
really want it to be just very informal. You know, we do a lot of structured classes
Yeah.
that are certified. This one's just free, no certificate at the end. Just ask.
Have a
whatever-
Sunday
ask-
fun day
Yeah,
here.
ask whatever you want. Maybe there's some things you've heard
Yeah.
and you just want to ask, be comfortable, and it can be. It's small enough that it can be one-on-one.
Yeah.
So, Christine, are you going to be talking about different like loan programs and how like your credit like takes effect into purchasing? Or I know you're having a third woman run this with you. She's what does she do? She's a
She's a certified credit counselor.
certified credit
Yeah.
counselor. Oh,
I can't really advise on credit
Yeah.
because I'm not a certified
Yeah.
credit counselor, even though I
Well, she can.
speak about it, but she can. And
She
she's,
can.
And it's always a huge talking point.
yeah. Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe you can't talk to anybody about their
I can't
credit, but
really
you can talk
advise,
about sort
you
of maybe some of the documentation that you might need in order to get pre-approved to see where you're at.
And I will tell people, what I've learned over time about credit, but I always will say, not a credit counselor, and kind of full disclaimer. But we'll talk about pretty high level the loan products that are out there. Everyone's going to have questions on what down payment assistance programs are available.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do to qualify for those? And, what do I need? What does my employment have to be? It's going to be real high level of kind of all the topics that always come at us, customer or client after client.
Yeah.
And just trying to get it out there because I know even if they don't know it's a question, it is a question.
Oh,
for
I have a good
them.
question.
Oh, go ahead. Get the ball rolling.
How long? So even though someone may have purchased a house before, how long before they're considered a first time? You can be a first time. You can qualify, right?
Yeah, as long as you have not been on deed for 3 years.
Oh, okay. Oh,
You're a
that's short.
first-time
That's a
home
short
buyer,
amount of
yeah.
time. Yeah, that's great.
There are a couple exceptions, but that would not be something I got into that much detail. But it 3 years or more not owning a home.
But that's a
not
good-
being on deed.
But that's a
owning
good
home.
point. Sometimes, someone may know somebody, but that's something someone may not know that. They may think, oh, I bought a house 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And-
When I think first, it's your first
Yeah.
time first.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But yeah, I guess you can be a second time, first time. second time, first time.
And a third time.
And a
First
third.
time.
And a third first time. Yeah. So maybe not getting too in depth into those types of things, but I think like the general information that you guys are going to be giving is super crucial and important for anybody who's thinking about buying. And I will say this morning when I was talking to Rob, there is no shortage of buyers. No shortage of buyers. So there's no need to worry that your house won't sell.
They're all coming back.
I wish I could show you a picture. There was an open house this weekend, and the listing agent sent me a picture before it opened, and there was a line down the sidewalk. Like
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
I
it's
was at
back.
2 this weekend, and probably both days, 12 parties came through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it is busy.
Yeah.
And we're not saying that to discourage people. It's just, you know what? It's always a good time to buy. It really, if you want to buy, it is always a good time to buy.
Yeah. And what we really need is for people to sell because the more listings that are out there, the better the chance that those people who are selling their listings are going to find something too. So I think that there might be some thought in, some of the sellers saying, well, okay, I can get multiple offers on my house, but where am I going to go? But if we start to see more inventory and sort of get the ball rolling like that, like someone's got to stand up and say, hey, I'll start it. I'll start.
Well, Christine and I right now are helping a buyer who she's selling, and she found a short-term rental. She knows how important it is for her to sell the house, and then we're kind of going to put the brakes on, and then I told her today, maybe a couple of weeks. She's closing like mid-March. In a couple of weeks, we'll really go full throttle, but she'll be in a great position. And yeah, nobody wants to move twice, but guess what? If you can get top dollar for your home, and in the end, if you're a non-contingent buyer, meaning you've already sold your home, you're a much better buyer. Those are all things that you would learn at our home buyer workshop.
You almost said
on
first
Sunday.
time. You almost. I
It's
saw
a
you
lot
go.
less
Almost said
stressful, for
fun.
sure.
Home buyer
Fun
workshop.
home buyer workshop. No. Yes, it is a home buyer workshop.
Okay, so Dee has another. Oh, she's going to share for us, and she's also saying, "What are your thoughts on cash buyers? I have no mortgage. When I eventually buy again, I'd like to keep it that way." Oh, Dee, yeah. Well, cash is. Listen, I have buyers who bought a couple of years ago, and they're upgrading. They're starting a family, and they put an offer in on a house, and we got beat out by cash.
That
Cash
happens
is
a lot.
back.
That happens
Yeah.
a lot, yeah.
Yeah, the first offer that I put in, I got beat by cash, even though I was higher. I think it was like I had gone over asking. So I would think eventually, at the end of the day, it was like $15,000 more. But they went with something that they went with less because it was cash.
So I'm going to ask you, what does it matter, Melissa? I mean, you're going to get your money either way, but why is cash preferred when you're selling?
In my situation, so I'm a first-time home buyer. I don't have anything to sell, so I have time that I could give a seller. However, in my situation, the seller had already moved out. Time really didn't matter, but I say that, but it really did because the cash buyer was like, I'll close in 3 weeks. So they were able to do that. Close quicker. Although, I could close today. It could close in 3 months. Time really doesn't matter in my situation. But
Cash doesn't always win.
yeah,
either.
cash doesn't always win. And I've said this multiple times on the show. I used to work hand in hand with Sharon and Mary when they would get multiple offers on their properties and help them do the spreadsheets and cover sheets and everything. And sometimes the cash wasn't, even if it was over, it's the other contingencies that go into it, and we've done shows on contingencies and what that means. So are they doing a home inspection? Are they doing, a lease back or anything? Like, what is it that I think what's important to know is what's important to the seller.
I was just going to say, having an agent who can find out the seller motivation, that's your in.
Yeah. In my situation, with my first offer that I put in, the seller was motivated. They just wanted to get rid of the house. They had moved on. They had gotten married and bought a second property and they just didn't want to, carry the 2 mortgages. The cash buyer was able to, close before they would have to make another mortgage payment. So they were like, okay, we'll do that. But I
And
was
some
like,
people think
pay $15,000 less. But at the end of the day, it was not the right house for me. So
And sometimes people think cash, like a seller may think cash is more. I don't know the right word I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Seamless.
I mean, I'm not going to say better. Is a better offer because you don't have to worry about an appraisal. But if you have a good agent who does their homework, you don't have to worry about an appraisal. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't. If your agent does their homework and comps and prices the house the way that it's supposed to be.
If it's priced to the condition that it's in, then if somebody is going to come over and say, I want to offer you $50,000 over. Well, you're telling me that you think that it's worth $50,000 more than what I have priced it at.
And what do we say to that? Show me the money.
Show me the money.
That's right. Show me the money.
Are you gonna come up with that money? These are all things that you can find out
at the fun Homebuyer workshop.
Because you keep trying to say first, because it's just so whatever. Oh, we only have about 5 minutes left. So, Christine, like I said to you, this is your first time on our show, and I hope you come back too, because I feel like we just have so much to talk about, and I hope that we're entertaining you. So you guys are laughing at me, but I want you to have the opportunity to give your contact information to all of our listeners, so how people can get in touch with you after the show.
Sure. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, phone number. Should I say my phone number?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and say it twice too, because I always do this, and people think that I'm telling them to wrap it up, but it's no, just repeat yourself.
Okay. So you can call me directly on my cell, 617-697-6566. That's 617-697-6566. You can email me at cfiske, Fiske, at harbor1.com. So that was C as in Christine Fiske, Fiske at harbor1, it's HARBORONE.com.
And you will also do hours at your branches too, right?
And I'm at the...
So they could always pop in to see you.
Just depending on what day and time. So just,
Yeah, give her
me
a ring.
holler, because
Yeah.
it might be Wednesdays 12 to 3, but it's really 1 to 4.
Yeah.
You don't know.
A couple months
It's
ago,
hard
I
to
was
say.
doing a pop by at the Plymouth branch, and there was a big life-size picture of you.
Oh, I'm on all the TV screens. Oh, on the
There's a
phone when you walk
life-size
in.
picture of you.
In the
I took a
lobby.
selfie with it.
Well, it's from here up. No, you did not.
I did. I have it on my phone. Of course I did.
It's your picture on her, like her little emoji picture on her phone when you call. There
People
it is.
around town are like, you're everywhere. It's just because they put me on the TV.
I know, and now you're on the radio too. Look at you. Okay, give your number one more time.
617-697-6566. And this has been great because no one in my house wants to talk about mortgages. No one in my life wants to talk about mortgages.
We're
other
always
than
open to
other
this.
industry
Yeah.
professionals. So we, sit around and tell war stories, and I've got no one to talk to. So this is perfect.
This is perfect. Yeah, we always love to talk about this, and especially because you guys are doing this fun workshop.
Homebuyer workshop
With donuts,
Yeah.
and doorbells.
and bagels.
Kristen, how can people get
and
in touch with you?
cookies.
You can hit me up on Facebook,
You're
Instagram,
so hip.
617-448-4896. Again, 617-448-4896. You can pop into 19 Matakeesit Street
She'll never be there.
anytime. No, I'm here.
Yeah, no, she is here a lot.
I'm
Yeah,
teasing you.
yeah, she was here earlier, and then she went home to have lunch with Honey.
Had to let my dog out.
And I said, well, you're supposed to have lunch with me when you're here.
Yeah. The summer was tough. My kids were home, and I love my kids, so I want to be with them every moment of every minute of every day.
You don't love me as much as you love your kids.
No, I do. But mostly I'm here at least, I try to be here at least 3 times. Because
It's an
really,
awesome
it's,
place to be.
yeah. And Mel and I, our big thing is what we're going to have for lunch.
Yeah, we talk about that the day before. What are we going to have for lunch tomorrow? Then we'll text each other in the morning about 9 o'clock and say, what are we going to have for lunch today? We are those memes that go around that's like, oh, that one coworker you have that texts you at 10 o'clock and asks what we're having for lunch. That's us every day.
Do you know what else we do? I text her during the Zoom meeting sometimes to make her laugh.
Yeah, as if I'm not trying to, run an office meeting. Then there's this one with my watch going off like, oh, what's that face you're making? I'm like, what? It's just my face. Sorry.
We're gonna have fun.
Yeah. Okay. Biggest takeaway from our show tonight. What would you say?
Homebuyer Workshop.
Oh my gosh.
The fun one.
The fun one.
yeah.
The fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, Sunday, 11 to 1 at Boston Connect Real Estate, located at 19 Mattakesett Street in Pembroke. Christine,
Yeah,
what's your
come.
biggest takeaway from today?
How I'm super impressed that you have a podcast.
Oh yeah,
And
we turn this into a podcast. You know,
Yeah.
Sometimes I go into open
Podcast.
houses and people are like, "Your voice sounds so familiar," and I'm like,
She's
"Do you
so good
listen
at
to
it.
WATD?" Yeah, it is.
We do. My dream would be Boston Connect After Dark.
Oh yes,
Where
we
can
could
just
do
lay
that.
it all on the
Yeah,
line.
we wouldn't be able to be live on air on WATD, but yeah, maybe we can turn that into a podcast. But if you've missed any of our past shows, go to talkrealestateroundtable.com. Kristen, thank you so much for joining tonight, and I
Thank you
hope
for
that
having
you
us.
have 1 million people show up here on Sunday.
We will. We're busting down the door.
You better have as many donuts.
Lots of donuts.
Yeah.
We might need a police detail.
Yeah. Oh, we can call that in. Thanks everybody for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Voila.
See, it goes fast.
Was it 25? An hour.